I do want to shift a little bit to like, inspiring the youth and young readers. What's your best way to get to kids and inspire them to read and get into books?
Tell them I'm making money. I was in a very privileged position to be able to answer the question, why do we have to learn English if we already speak English? Why do we have to write, like, I already speak English. And then I could pull up, like when I first was a teacher, I'd be like, all right, well, let's go to Woodard since 1987. I got paid this much for writing this essay. This is the same thing I'm asking you to do. This is a 3,000 word essay. I need that from you. Now, you're interested in that. You might be interested in architecture. You can go start a blog about architecture and you can get paid from that. Why do we have to learn geometry? I mean, how do you think this building that you're inside of was built?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like I cannot stand when people get on the internet and be like, why do we have to learn y equals mx plus b on a social media platform that is full of math? Somebody had to understand that math in order to create the social media platform for you to complain on. You need it. It's not their fault you work at McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
when I worked in the bank, we used PERT, we used all of that. That's how the car loan that you got was used with mathematics. So the idea is that we're going to give you all this knowledge about all these various topics so you can choose what you want to make a profession of. So if you want to be a banker, you're going to use more math. You want to be a software engineer, you're going to use calculus. You're going to be using all these high level forms of math. And so I try to, again, like you said earlier, tell these kids the truth. No, you don't need this if you're going to be a mechanic, but you do have to understand some of the other things that we taught you in order to be a good mechanic. So like, and in terms of English and literature, one of the precursors of getting a degree in English, one of the reasons you get a degree in English a lot of times is because you're going into law.
Yeah.
So if you say you want to be a lawyer, usually you get an English degree first,
Yep. I was
a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? So like just literally telling them the truth about this, like, you want to be interested in math because technology is taking the world by storm. And a lot of that is utilizing math, is utilizing algorithms, is utilizing critical thought and critical thinking skills that are honed in these classrooms that you're in. And if you want to be successful, and I mean, yeah, I hear you rap, little Terry, but you're not that good. Here's another avenue to making a lot of money. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
a lot of these kids are really tangible, man. If you can't tell them how they can, at least the kids I was teaching, the
Mhm.
kids I was teaching were living in poverty and they wanted to understand how they could get out of it.
Yeah. What about
You
like
know what I mean?
confidence too? Like when it comes to confidence in reading, because at least when I was a kid, that probably was the biggest holdup for me was
Mhm.
having the ability to read out loud, to have conversations. How do you kind of build that and educate in that sense for kids that want to get into reading, but they just might
So,
struggle with it?
dog, I read The Hate You Give to my high school students in a bust down wig that one of my students took off of her head and put on my head. I'm
Mm.
gonna do whatever it takes to show these kids that none of that matters. You know what I mean? And you can laugh if you are worried about being laughed at. Let's laugh at me first.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I put who got a wig for me? And I read the whole thing, you know what I'm saying, like this. I'm doing the hand motion so that they can see. That I'm trying to teach them all kinds of things. First of all, not to be homophobic. I know I'm a straight man, so that does not change who I am. Right? So when you see someone do that, like it shouldn't change how you feel about them as a person. And so I tried to show them that, like, I'm not afraid of anyone laughing at me. I'm not afraid of anyone saying I'm wrong. Somebody's probably gonna be in the comment section saying I said something wrong today, right? But there's a reason this microphone is in front of me and it wasn't in front of them. So when we're saying we're gonna give this classroom and everybody's gonna get an opportunity to read, there's a reason that you have the mic right now. So speak with the wind that brought you. And another thing that I did in my classroom is we were all brothers and sisters. So I heard the N word, you got to pinch. If I heard the B word, you got to pinch. So brother Johnson, it's your turn to read.
Mm.
Because my theory with that, and love to anyone who uses those words. Sometimes I do because I grew up using them too, right? But my theory in that is it's easy to do bad things to an N word. It's hard to do that to your brother. We have a lot of evidence of that. So it's hard to laugh at your brother, but it's not as difficult to laugh at someone that you've already disrespected. So we don't disrespect people in my classroom. right? So everybody's reading. If we know that so and so has a difficult time reading, then we're going to chunk the reading, right? So he's only going to read a certain amount, and then I'm going to go, right? And then I want him to go and read something else when we have some more time. So like repetition and like really just building their relationship with reading as something that is their inherent right. Like when ships would come into ancient Kemet, they would search the ships. I asked them what they're looking for. They're like weapons. No, they wanted all the scrolls that were on the ship first. This is your divine right. You know what I mean? To be intelligent and to seek to be educated. And so I try to build that up from day one when I was in the classroom, that we all read here all the time. You know what I mean? So, but it's hard to. I don't say that to say that I had 100% success rate, but I'd rather have 75 than none. You
Oh
know what
yeah.
I mean?
No, I agree. Yeah, I was definitely the student when it was time to popcorn read. I go to the bathroom because
Try to go to the
like
bathroom.
I said, I struggled with reading growing up. So like that
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
I was easy at being the class clown and being funny and humorous.
Yeah,
Math, I was great at math. When it came to reading, I always struggled. So like I always make sure like I'm glad to what you said. Like until I had a teacher that sat me down, I was like, all right, Kyle, it's your day to read. You can't
hmm,
run, you can't hide. You're gonna sit down. It built up that confidence. Like confidence again is like a muscle. You kind of have to do it over and over again. It's like working out. You do it a couple
yeah,
times, you get a little bit more confident. So I'm glad that
yeah,
you do that too.
yeah. And then like that family concept, like it really takes its shape in the classroom to where like people are helping. Like people would be like, "You got it, Kyle." You know what I'm saying? Because I've already obliterated this idea that we're going to laugh at each other. Like I'm going to, because I would get on kids' head. Like I'd be like, "You merely adopted Joan, and I was born in and molded by it. You think you finna laugh at Kyle? I'm finna bust your head in here. I'm gonna get on your head all day, and you're not gonna beat me because I got 37 years of experience. You just getting started. You just started Jonan 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was really, and I was still young enough to kind of like have that relationship with them. So I tried to make it the safest space possible to where it would have been more like, come on, let's go, Kyle. You got that one. You know what I mean? So yeah.
If you enjoyed that clip, make sure you head over to www.bookupapp.com to download our app so you can connect with your favorite bookish content creators, start conversations, and start your own book club.